This is a perfect example of the game played by the corporate press. A story that claims YouTube algorithm more likely to recommend users right-wing and religious content, research finds. What they do is they set up a game to destroy you, then lie about it to the public to make it seem like you are the beneficiary of their scheme. The reality is this. Right-wing content is being shuffled, funneled, tiny-roomed, shadow banned, etc. They then claim because YouTube is trying to silence people on the right, actually they're helping the right. Why? Because they're funneling everyone to Fox News. This is the game. Let me read this for you and break down how they lie to you. NBC News reports, YouTube has a pattern of recommending right-leaning and Christian videos even to users who haven't previously interacted with that kind of content, according to a recent study of the platform's suggestions to users. The four-part research project conducted by a London-based nonprofit organization that researches extremism called the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, oh boy, here we go, explored video recommendations, served two accounts designed to mimic users interested in four topic areas: gaming, male lifestyle gurus, mommy vloggers, and Spanish language news. Quote, we wanted to, for the most part, look at topics that don't generally direct people into extremist worlds or anything along those lines, said Eof Gallagher, Alfie, how you pronounce that, the project's lead analyst. Researchers created accounts and built mock user personas by searching for content, subscribing to channels, and watching videos using those accounts. After having built personas for 5 days, researchers recorded the video recommendations displayed on each account's homepage for a month. The study noted that YouTube's recommendation algorithm drives 70% of all video views. That is true. In one investigation, the most frequent recommended news channel for both child and adult accounts interested in male lifestyle guru content was Fox News, even though neither account had watched Fox News during the persona building stage. Instead, the accounts watched Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson and searched for the term alpha male. Quote, this suggests that YouTube associated male lifestyle videos and creators with conservative topics, the study said. Wrong. This is the lie. I'll come back to this in a second. They say in another experiment, researchers created two accounts interested in mommy vloggers, mothers who make video diaries about parenting, that they trained to have different political biases. One of the accounts watched Fox News, and the others watched MSNBC. Despite having watched their respective channels for equal amounts of time, the right-leaning account was far later more frequently recommended Fox News than the left-leaning account was recommended MSNBC. A mommy vlogger account that the left-leaning user had already subscribed to was the most recommended channel. These results suggest that right-leaning news content is more frequently recommended than left-leaning. The study said both accounts were also recommended videos by an anti-vaccine influencer, so that seems to be neutral. All right, let me break down how they lied to you. It's actually quite simple. Individuals who had watched Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson, two channels that cover cultural and news topics, Joe Rogan more so than Jordan Peterson, were recommended Fox News. What is actually going on? Several years ago, there was a report put out, this is around 2018, called the Alternative Influencer Network. It was a fabrication. A woman had grossly misinterpreted data to smear people, falsely accusing people like Chris Ray Gun, who was a video game vlogger, and like comedy content, of having collaborated directly with Richard Spencer, the most prominent white nationalist at the time. These men had never met and were so far apart it made literally no sense. Following this, the YouTube algorithm changed. All of a sudden, anybody listed on this report saw their recommendations drop massively. These videos were doing really well. People were making content that wasn't white nationalist or anything. I mean, my content, for instance, was just general news. My recommendations dropped as well. What people saw instead, they stopped recommending my videos and started recommending Fox News. They stopped recommending Joe Rogan. They started recommending Fox News. They stopped recommending Chris Ray Gun. They started recommending Fox News. What was actually happening was the shuffling of people away from one group, one network, into a controlled corporate press narrative. Fox News. We call this the pressure release valve model. Now, they go on to say, but when the mommy vlogger, two of them, watched Fox News or MSNBC, the one that watched MSNBC did not get recommended MSNBC all that often. Why? This is exactly what's happening. If you are, when we saw this shift, what did we see? If you're the Young Turks, if you were David Pakman or Kyle Kalinske, they were not affected at all. Their approach to the news was mainstream media acceptable and did not defy the narratives from MSNBC. So it doesn't matter if it's MSNBC or any other channel that shares that political worldview. They weren't being censored. The censorship was only on the right, which meant if you watch Timcast IRL, fact, they were telling you to watch Fox News instead. Why? Well, Fox News follows a conservative but still corporate line. Many people on the right are not fans of Fox News and haven't watched since Tucker Carlson left the network, and many even before that. You'd go onto YouTube, you'd watch Timcast IRL, real long conversations with news articles, NewsGuard certified New York Times, and we'd criticize them, we'd fact check them. And they started recommending anyone who watched our videos to go watch Fox News instead. Yet if you watch David Pakman, they recommend more Pakman to you. They recommend more Young Turks to you. They allow the independent left voices to maintain their presence and grow. Now they lie, twisting what is actually happening to make it seem like, but Fox News is getting recommended. Oh, how dare they? What YouTube is actually doing is making sure they silo all of us. It's called the tiny room shadow ban technique. You make sure that these people can only stay in this one place. And if you're in this one place, you might get recommended this content. But what do? They recommend Fox News. That's the only exit. The more of these videos you watch, the more you'll be recommended Fox News and be pulled away from that room. Tiny room basically means if you watch my videos, you might see them recommended, but any new user who comes to YouTube will not see my videos recommended. They'll see Fox News. This is the corporate press trying to control the narratives that exist in the mainstream. They don't want to ban channels like mine outright, or Crowder, for instance. That would create a big splash and generate a lot of attention, which would bolster these channels. They put you in a tiny room and they slowly pull people away by recommending only Fox News, the approved conservative narrative. They're going to say Jesse Daniels, a professor of sociology at Hunter College, part of the City University of New York, and the author of a 2018 article titled The Algorithmic Rise of the Alt-Right. So the project's main findings were in line with her previous research. She's examined the rise of the internet in the 1990s and how the far right saw an opening to share its beliefs with larger audiences by bypassing traditional media gatekeepers. The same is true for the left. YouTube doesn't seem to have a problem with that. Daniel said she believes the findings suggest that YouTube has made continued engagement and profits its top priorities rather than concerns around reinforcing existing political biases or echo chambers. Videos with religious themes, primarily Christianity, were also recommended to all the accounts, even though none of them had watched religious content during the persona building stage. The account interested in mommy vloggers, for example, were shown videos with Bible verses. Why? This country is majority Christian, and those videos overlap. That's it. Liberals are less likely to have kids. That means they're less likely to be watching children's videos. And so mommy vloggers are going to more likely be conservative because conservatives have kids. The researchers also found that YouTube recommended videos including sexually explicit content to the child accounts and videos featuring influencer Andrew Tate, even though he is banned from the platform. This is a general AI algorithmic issue that affects everything, and they had no reason to single out Andrew Tate for this. Heading into the year's presidential race, concerns about the spread of election misinformation on social media are only growing. In 2022, a study by researchers at NYU found that after the last presidential election, YouTube recommended videos that pushed voter fraud claims to Trump supporters. One of the main issues that we're seeing is polarization across society. And I think that social media is contributing an awful lot to that kind of polarization. This isn't the first time YouTube has faced scrutiny for its algorithm. Researchers have repeatedly found that YouTube has recommended extremist and conspiracy theory videos to users. The problem? What does the media think is a conspiracy theory? The Hunter Biden laptop story was not Russian disinformation. That's a lie. It's actually his laptop. They said anyone who believed it was a conspiracy theorist. COVID origins, lab leak. They said you were a conspiracy theorist. The media lies all the time, as they're doing right now. Let's see who wrote this. This is NBC News' Victoria Fang. NBC News is notorious for writing fake news. They are a captured institution. It's absolutely amazing. They go on to say, this isn't the first time YouTube has faced scrutiny for its algorithm. Researchers have repeatedly found that YouTube has recommended extremist and conspiracy theory videos to users. We welcome research on our recommendation system, but it's difficult to draw conclusions based on the test accounts created by the researchers, which may not be consistent with the behavior of real people. That's true. YouTube said, YouTube's system is trained to raise high-quality content on the homepage, in search results, and the Watch Next panel for viewers of all ages across the platform. We continue to invest significantly in the policies, products, and practices to protect people from harmful content. Their goal here with this article is to create mainstream pressure on YouTube to force YouTube to push more leftist content. The reality is, a researcher around 8 or so years ago put together this big map that proved left-wing content was recommended more than right-wing content. Viewers of right-wing content are more likely to be recommended centrist and left-wing content than any other way. This means that if you watch a right-wing video, over a long enough period of time, you will be recommended more and more left-wing content, and you eventually might find yourself watching, the Young Turks or Jimmy Kimmel. That's true. It's a lie. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.